Mr. Kodua, thank you for joining the conversation.
Thank you, and good morning.
I'm sure you've heard of that proposal, whether factual or otherwise, about increasing pension contributions. How do you feel about that for starters?
Well, let me say that I don't think that is the area SSNIT should focus on at this time.
How so?
One would expect SSNIT to look at what is accounting for their inability to offer the social protection that it ought to offer the Ghanaian worker, to serve as the crucial safety net that the law allows it to do, and to have the income retirement that workers are expecting to earn. These are the areas SSNIT should look at. And I don't think that the reasons why our SSNIT or the SSNIT is not performing is because of the rate of our contribution. There are fundamental issues that SSNIT must address before it comes to the discussion about rate increment. So I think that those fundamental issues should be looked at. For instance, currently we have our benefits plus SSNIT administration together higher than our contribution. In other words, our contribution currently is lower than all benefits plus admin expenses of SSNIT together. And this is not healthy. If your contribution cannot even be equal to your benefits plus admin expenses, then that equation for me is something that's must looked at. And contribution is not also up because, one, government is not employing into the formal sector. And so we have a lot of Ghanaian workers in the informal sector. And SSNIT's role is also to ensure that those in the informal sector, the employers pay their SSNIT. So if SSNIT is not enforcing the law also enough in the informal sector to enhance contribution, and you have a situation as I speak now with contribution lower than your benefits and your admin expenses together, then that problem, you must first look at it. Again, let me say that this ILO indication is not the first news, for most of us. There's been earlier reports that suggested that come 2041, SSNIT will have issues with its reserves. The recent one brought it to 2037. So this
2036.
ILO, yes, this new ILO report that brings it to 2036 is an indication that SSNIT reserves is depleting, over time. And I'm sure by next 2 years, if a new study is done, maybe it will be dropped from the 36 to maybe 34. So SSNIT must address this contribution issue. It also needs to address the issue about its investment and let me not use the word bad investment, but investments that are not yielding returns. If you are supposed to, your function is supposed to administer and invest the funds of the scheme. That is the mandate of SSNIT. Administer and invest the funds of the scheme. And you are to invest these funds to build up your reserves. So if your reserves are going empty, then it means that your investments are not bringing in the needed returns. And so SSNIT must watch where it is investing our monies. See, a typical example is their investment in World Trade Center. World Trade Center today, as we speak, has only about 2 or 3 clients in that edifice. This big edifice has only 2 or 3 clients. And so all the spaces there are empty. And it's as a result of poor management. And so you invest in state enterprises also that are not yielding any profit. And how would you build your reserves if you don't invest properly? So that is also an issue that SSNIT must watch, and not about the issue about the rate. 2021 ILO report indicated that SSNIT was giving a returns of about 12.5%, when at that time the T-bill rate for Ghana was about 70%. So how do you SSNIT bring a return of about 12% or 12.5% when at that time even the T-bill was giving about 70%? And so all these things are depleting the reserve. Again, let's mention about failure of government to also pay SSNIT contribution on time. Government delays the payment of SSNIT contribution from 8 members, sometimes in arrears for 6 months, 8 months. And all this go a long way to affect the reserve. And SSNIT cannot address this because SSNIT is also somehow has politicians or political appointees managing SSNIT, and that must stop. Where you have politicians determining who should manage SSNIT, the very top, and government is not remitting its contribution to SSNIT. Again, you have MPRA, regulator, that must ensure that SSNIT does the right thing. Also having political heads all over. What do you expect the regulator to also do? So the problem about political interference in SSNIT plus 8 regulators, MPRA, it's not also helping SSNIT to crack the ship where it needs to crack. I'm not without any malice. We all know who the CEO of SSNIT is now, and trust me.
You are talking of Mr. Osafo Mafu.
I mean, he might be competent, yes, but right from the beginning, you could tell where it's coming from. And any government that comes next will want to change these political heads, and that doesn't augur well for consistency and planning and vision promotion. So you have one CEO because it's politically appointed. In the next 4 years, he's gone. 3 years is gone. Another one comes, and we can't run the pension of workers this way.
All right.
Look,